Welcome to Autism Knows No Borders, a podcast where people connected to autism inspire change and build community. Together with the Global Autism Project, I'm your host, Rachel Harmon, a professional with over a decade of experience in the field of autism services, outreach, and advocacy. Would you like to share your experiences with like-minded people who can relate to the same struggles? Are you looking for an easy way to form friendships and not feel isolated? If so, you'll want to listen to this episode, where members of our Global Autism Community talk about how being part of our online space has helped them feel support, connection, and a sense of belonging. This week, we're celebrating the 5-year anniversary of this podcast, as well as the 4-year anniversary of our online Global Autism Community. It's been an eye-opening journey that continues to surprise, inspire, and move us. We've learned so much from self-advocates sharing their experiences, family members talking about acceptance, and professionals discussing best practices in the field of autism services. We've covered a wide range of topics such as ableism, bullying, masking, the neurodiversity movement, intersectionality, disability rights, dating, communication, personal growth, cultural humility, and international collaboration, and even controversial topics like person-first versus identity-first language, the puzzle piece symbol, and ABA therapy. 5 years after launching Autism Knows No Borders, we're more energized than ever to keep going. There are still countless meaningful stories out there, and we want to bring them to you. We'll continue to elevate autistic voices. We want their stories to keep traveling across the world so that more and more people can join us in the cause for autism awareness, acceptance, and hope. A huge thank you to all of our guests for educating us with their unique perspectives, as well as to our team members who keep making this podcast happen. Our visual creator, social media manager, and community moderator, Danielle Terrell, our podcast administrative associate, Aljan Medania, and our sound designer and editor, Mark Aliana. And of course, many thanks to you, our dedicated listeners, for tuning in each week, sharing your takeaways, and ultimately giving meaning to what we're doing. If you're a new listener, we'd like to welcome you as well. Our online Global Autism Community has been growing over the past few years. This is a space where members have the possibility to share insights, listen to different perspectives, and create real change in their own communities, whether they're autistic individuals, family members, or service providers. Special shout out to our community moderators, Danielle Terrell, Hattie Angelise Fox, Adrian Sanchez, and Bob Schmoose. Our moderators monitor posts daily to ensure that our online space remains safe and respectful. If you're interested in joining our moderator team, you can send me a direct message in the community. Last week, some members of our community got together virtually to celebrate our anniversary and reflect on the podcast's impact over the years. Today, you'll hear an excerpt from that special event featuring our CEO, Molly Pinney, and autistic self-advocates Hattie Angelise Fox, Adrian Sanchez, Mary Johnston, and Corbin Havener. In this episode, discover what's possible when what you have to say matters. And now I present you the Global Autism Community. First off, I want to thank you all because this is our 5-year anniversary episode celebration. And, we couldn't have done this or come this far if it wasn't for you guys. Molly knows we started this podcast with the idea in November of 2019. And then it just grew and grew. And from the podcast grew this community. And you guys really are the reason we keep going. So special thanks to our moderators. And, Amira, you just joined the community last year, but everyone else on the screen has been in a moderator role or is currently in a moderator role. Mary and Corbin served in the community last year, and Adrian and Angelise are currently moderators. So, Amira, if you're interested, we're always looking for people to join our team. So thank you all for your commitment.
Yeah, it's not just 5 years, it's 5 sort of wild years, right? I remember, I think it's a little known fact at this point. Then when Rachel and I first talked about the podcast, she first of all said, should we do the podcast? And I almost never say no to things. I'm usually like, well, let's see. And I was like, no. I've thought about a podcast. It is a lot of work. You need someone who's consistently on it. And she was like, well, I could do that. And I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. So then we decided it would be 20 episodes. And we would have some episodes focused on lived experience. We'd have some episodes from our partners. We sort of just figured out. And then I remember I was listening to it one time and I heard Rachel's voice and she said, you're listening to episode number 100, whatever it was. And I was like, what is happening? No, maybe it was only like 80 something at that point. But I was like, what is happening? Wait, this is amazing. So it's been really special. And I hear from people all the time that listen to the podcast, that love the podcast. And it's a treasure trove of information. I know people are going to listen to it for years and years to come. And it's just going to make a huge difference. I think, especially because it was a pandemic project in a way. So, right, it captured a moment of time where we were all figuring out, what are we even doing? And I think even some of the legislation stuff that you were talking about, Corbin, it's like, hopefully this is a moment of time where things change in really huge ways. And you guys were there sharing that real conversation in the moment. So it's incredible. It's so exciting. Huge thank you to Rachel for running with it. And then she just kept running with it. So she didn't hit episode number 20 and go, what should we do now? She's kind of kept going. So there was a lot happening in 2020. So I wasn't necessarily even realize, oh, right, that's right, that thing. So it's amazing. It's taken on a life of its own. I think what we're hoping to do with it in the future and just get this information out to even more people wouldn't be possible without you all. And you've been so generous and kind and taking this from being just a podcast to really being a community. And if you read some of the reviews, I mean, it's really making a difference. So thank you all for doing that. It's huge.
Thanks, Molly.
And I just thought, oh my gosh, a podcast is so much work, Rachel. I mean, that's why I had looked into it. I really wanted to have one because I think that, if I could change anything about the history of the organization, we would have documented more carefully every step of the way. Every so often, I kind of have a flashback like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened. And a lot of it lives mostly in my memory. So I think that's what makes the podcast really special too, and hearing from our partners and all that. So just really grateful to Rachel for running with this in such a huge way. And again,
Thank you for the support. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Rachel, I hear that we are going to need a history of Global Autism Project interview with the CEO podcast episode is what I just heard.
I think we sort of have one, right?
There's definitely one of our mission. I think that was the second episode we recorded. Yeah. And you talked a lot about SkillCore and our partners and that's when, the world shut down pretty much. And the podcast is really what kept me going during that time because it kept me focused. And I'm like, all right, I still have something to do here. And so it was good.
Yeah, I think the podcast is a big reason that the organization continued to thrive and grow in that time. We were meeting new people, which we wouldn't have necessarily been doing. And honestly, Rachel and I have talked a lot about this. The conversations that were had combined with the pause in the world at that time, AKA an opportunity for so much reflection, really informed our work and how we talk about our work and the type of work that we do. I think we moved more very much towards, the experience that you had of the organization in Peru, Amira, wouldn't have happened had we not had that deep reflective time and said we always talk about doing with and not for, but we're not doing with and not for the autistic community. And so how do we really intentionally do that? And through those conversations, we created RST, responsive skills training. I really consider it a strong turning point in the trajectory of the organization, really.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have happened without conversations with you all, honestly. We could only spend so long in our echo chamber. Right, Angela? Place we were saying, listen to people, learn from people, and so we said, what if we took that, not only listen to the BIPOC community, but listen to the autistic community? And what if we created a world in which that is the thing to do? And And we know, we've talked with tons of people who work in this field, the way that we run our trips and the conversations that we have has started to inform their practice and how they interact with people in general. So it's the ripple effects of this podcast they're unknown, but I think they've really impacted this work in this field. I really think for generations, I think that's not an overstatement. So
I remember one
cool.
early comment I got on one of the episodes, I think when it was posted on YouTube, and it was from an autistic young woman who had listened to an episode with a father of an autistic, I think maybe he had a son. I think it was Jamil Owens, and he was talking about accepting his son's autism. And this autistic young lady listened to the episode and never had thought about what the experience was like for her parents. And so that it goes both ways. You know, it's not just learning about the autistic experience. It's everyone involved, everyone who's connected.
Yeah, that must have been really interesting for her. I just got chills. It's really special. I think it's really important work. And, you know, what's nice about the Global Autism Project is that we get to do what we want, how we want, when we want, for the most part. And so if we have this wild idea of listening to the people that we say we exist for, we get to do that, you know, and we hopefully do it well. I think, like I said, there's been so much like learning and unlearning and listening, and it's been really cool. It's been really cool to see the shifts and what we're up to. So
yeah. And, you know, I want to turn it to you guys. What has the community meant for you guys? What have you gotten out of it?
Is it redundant to say community?
Redundant.
You know, but honestly, the ability to dip into a space and know that like, if I'm talking about an aspect of my autistic experience or looking for feedback or strategies on how to manage something that is, I don't have to start with explaining autism. I don't have to start with explaining I'm autistic. There's kind of really like a different starting point, and I love that. I've also gotten to share, so both sides of that. I've gotten to hear other high communicative autistic experiences too. So sometimes it's also given me a sense of self, right? Because I'm like, oh, those are the words that mean the thing that I'm going through. And now I have language about it. Or that's the strategy someone else is employing to manage the thing that I couldn't figure out how to manage. So a lot.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
And I got to steal words too. Adrian has said he is an autism spectrum navigator, and I will never release that phrase. And I am thankful that he let me steal it.
Yeah. It's all right. It's free.
Hello, Rachel here again. Would you like to share your own perspectives in a safe and judgment-free space? Join our online Global Autism Community, where all kinds of people connected to autism regularly discuss important topics like autistic identity, dating on the spectrum, coping strategies, and many, many more. We'd love to see you there at community.globalautismproject.org. And now, back to the conversation.
You know, one of the things that has really come through is that we're all a set of our own experiences, and and this has really been, I think it's a certain scope. You know, I know what I advocate for, and like whether it was even my skill or experience, the acceptance of my ability to advocate, argue, and stand in my point of view is really a skill that I have ever since. And I think it's really manifesting in Indianapolis as, you know, I navigate people. I was called into work today to try and do some of my U-Fly stuff. And then while the principal was getting me set up, it's like, okay, well, I also need to be there for my IEA who made this happen and stand up for the union school corporation who was in the crossfires of what was going on today. Like, they actually bust their kids to the state capitol. But anyway, it was important because I was able to confidently stand up and realize that, they got in-person school closed today so that all of us can get to the state capitol and make this heard, because the legislation, like the amendments that were put in here, like my district, Indianapolis Public School, would stand to be in a position where we have to close 20 of our buildings if this goes through. So it's like, this is not really business as usual. I'm also knowing, like, how do I appeal to certain people and everything. And, I'm really getting better at standing for what I believe in. If I just got better at arguing with my parents, because with my parents, I have to balance arguing with keeping the peace. I will say, Indianapolis and Marion County are politically an outlier in Indiana. So,
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
One thing I can say is that the influence that got me in the community was when I felt like there were a lot of disidentifications of what autism really is among other people outside the community. And as far as I can tell you, there were times when employment was just hard, especially when filling out a form for employment that is called the voluntary self-identification of disability. And when I looked at how autism is listed on there as a disability, I just felt bewaffled, because as far as I've been taught, autism is more of a dynamic to personality behavior. And what I've heard about the autism community is that when you've met one autistic person, you've only met one autistic person. And the fact that we can all share what's going on around different subjects and how navigating certain types of obstacles helps us to be able to combat this. It just really lightened up with all my beliefs that have just been confirmed to be true based on other media that I've dug into. So in my way, I feel like it's a great way that I've actually been able to connect better and been able to form communications with people in this community, because in my hometown, it's not really emphasized as well. There's still a lot of influence that would still need to be go around before any change can be implemented. And so far, there are some changes going on little by little. And I can tell you, equality is important. And that's what I'm really liking out of this community.
I would say for me, I really love having like-minded people to speak to. When I'm talking to people who are also autistic, a lot of them can relate to the same struggles and a lot of the same life experiences, to where it's easy to form friendships and acquaintances to help you feel less alone.
Yeah. Love that, Mary. Thank you. And thank you everyone for sharing. This community is yours, really. Like, you guys own it. It's not the Global Autism Project. It's yours. You guys are it. So again, thank you for all of your dedication and showing up just wholeheartedly yourselves. No filter. This is, I think, the beauty of the community, that people can come and feel like they can share and just be themselves. And that's because they see other people doing it. So thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Autism Knows No Borders, and thanks for all of your support over the last 5 years. Are you a self-advocate willing to share your experiences and educate others? Are you a professional seeking to hear directly from autistic voices and improve your practice? Are you a family member hoping to support and empower your loved one? Whatever your role related to autism is, you can join our online Global Autism Community to connect and collaborate with people all over the world. Sign up today at community.globalautismproject.org. Let's work together to transform how the world relates to autism. Thanks for listening. Take care.